How does one adopt a child in Hawaii, Lori?
Well, there's many avenues. We have at least 5 private agencies that place children for adoption, and it's simply a matter really of just contacting them. They're listed in the phone book, getting their packet, having a home study done, and being placed on their list of potential adoptive parents.
I'm Tiffany, and I was adopted from Seoul in South Korea when I was 3 months old.
I'm Christian, and I was adopted from Cambodia ever since I was 8 months old.
My name is Parker, and I was adopted from Seoul, South Korea when I was 4 months old.
Let's talk about international adoptions. In 1989, Americans adopted about 8,000 children from 25 foreign countries. When the final numbers are in for last year, experts expect the total to surpass that of 1989. Now, overwhelmingly, these foreign adoptions take place in what some call third world countries. More than half are from Asia, and that's what Kelly Dean is going to tell us about.
These children are living in an orphanage in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. The war-torn, poverty-stricken country has an abundance of youngsters who have no family. The United States, on the other hand, has a large population of affluent couples unable to have children of their own who want to adopt. Cambodia is one of the countries these couples turn to start their families.
Okay, I did a lot of research on international adoptions, and that sounded really wonderful to me and Greg. And so we went to Hawaii International Adoption Center with Monroe Willard, and it was in Honolulu. We did a lot of, Kate had to do a home study and check your background check and stuff like that, criminal check and stuff. I mean, pass through it, so it's quite a process. And so we went to Holt in Korea, and it was a pretty actually smooth transition. It was like 9 months, a little less than 9 months, and they sent a picture of little Hong Young Jai. She's so cute, God, she's beautiful. And so, yeah, that was it. And then she came, like on an airplane. And somebody brought her over, and she was just beautiful. Brought such joy to my heart.
I can't remember a time when I didn't know that I was adopted. I think that's something that we've always been aware of.
We decided to tell everyone, all the kids and Tiffany, that you were adopted right off. It's just natural. And so we did. To be so happy and so proud of your cultural heritage. We'd have different nights where we'd have different foods and stuff, Korean night. Made it fun, and it just relaxing and just normal. It's a normal family.
Well, I guess because Tiffany was so charming and good, we thought it was a good idea. Let's try to adopt another kid. Because, you want to have a companion for the first kid, if possible. And so I think we put in for Korea, but that took a while. And then out of the blue, or more quickly, I should say, my high school classmate, Dan Susant, who had been adopting kids from Cambodia, approached us and said he had a match with Christian. So we kind of went that way and adopted Christian about 3 years after Tiffany. And then he came into the family in 1989. He was a little bit, Tiffany was super healthy and, wonderful. And Christian was a little malnourished because I think we adopted him at 8 months and he was 9 pounds. So he's kind of underweight. But other than that, very charming, happy kid. And Tiffany and Joanne went to Thailand and visited with Sumit Mai, who's a big supporter of the Cambodian adoptions, Anti-Sumit Mai. And so they picked Christian up and helped bring him back to Honolulu.
If you pay money to individuals, then that could be considered bribery. But if you channel it into projects which benefit the wider good and don't just go into somebody's pocket, then I think then that's justified.
Susat estimates that 25% of the children born in Cambodia die before their first birthday. His goal this year is to place 1,000 orphaned Cambodian children in American homes where they can grow up healthy and educated.
When I met Chris at the hotel in Thailand, my heart was pounding so hard. I thought, oh, I'm so glad I'm a nurse, because he was really sick. He was very malnourished, but I will tell you, he was a cutie pie, looked like a little Buddha. He was just adorable. But yes, it was kind of scary, and I was just thinking, gee, do I want to do this? And I said, yes, I'm going to do this. This is going to be a challenge, quite a challenge, and it's good though. It's a good thing. He had thrush. He had a lot of sores on his body. He had a yeast infection in his ears. He couldn't hear. He had yeast in his mouth, all over his little body. He had diarrhea, and he was malnourished. He had protein in his tummy, where it was all bloated, and he just couldn't sit up. He was like really, didn't have any muscle, no hair. What was hair was like very orange. What I noticed was when he was laying down on the bed, he'd pat his back. He would pat, self-stim, they call it, self-stimming him to help his nervous system, because they were probably left in cribs for a long time. It was very difficult times in Cambodia, with less people there, and a lot of people had to flee the country, and they did the best that they could. We didn't have internet at that time, so I had to read tons of books, about physical therapy, occupational therapy, how to help him. He had to have braces on his legs because they wanted to cut his heel cords. I said, no way, we're not doing that. He doesn't need that, you just stretch them. So I worked with a physical therapist, and I had to learn all kinds of things about brushing, deep pressure, and read Temple Grandin's books, who's very good she's autistic, but very high functioning. And so I had to learn a lot of things. And also while I was listening to TV, I was listening to, I don't know, I was just over there doing something, and then I heard Oprah, and somebody was talking about these children, and I said, that's Chris. And they were talking about somebody that was autistic, and I thought, oh, he's autistic. He was it was 18 months old when I actually diagnosed him myself, because they were just saying he's developmentally delayed, and I said, wow, that sounds just like him. But gifted, so gifted. He'd have his little piano, and he could play it back, a tune. I thought, 18 months he could play music back. It was incredible. He loved music. He couldn't understand words or anything, but when I'd sing to him, he just woke right up. It was just cool. And he loved red. Why? I don't know. He just loved red, so I did everything with red to try to teach him things about red apples. He was just very hyperactive.
At that time, autism was not as widely known, and I think many people thought it was kind of a death sentence where you were just, this is the way you were going to be, rather than being able to. Now I think through scientific advancements or behavioral advancements, they think you can improve. So anyway, that's what happened with Chris.
It's okay to have autism, I guess, but I don't know, maybe autism is not so bad at all.
It's not so bad. What is regular ed?
Regular education.
Regular education instead of what?
To special ed.
You don't like the word special ed?
No, not really. I kind of got into a little trouble when I was with a special ed, you know.
You don't like being in special ed?
Well, not really.
Why not?
Because it was going to treat me like I am special ed and all.
Growing up as a younger kid, I don't remember thinking that Chris was different. I'm sure it was explained to me and Parker, but I don't remember ever feeling like a weird way about it or anything. Chris was always just my brother. And it was only when we started getting older and people and kids would treat him differently. That's when it really became, I was more aware of it.
There was always some new program or some new, something new we had to throw in as a family activity to kind of help Chris with, development or whatever it may have been. So we're always just very kinetic. We're a very kinetic family. I felt like that helped us to be a little bit closer too. It essentially forced you to be with each other. It'd be a good thing. It's a good thing. Of course, he was given more attention growing up. It's a given. My sister, being the only girl, being the eldest, was also given more attention. Understandable as well. But I never, held it against them, and I never felt some type of way about it. I understand it. I understood it when I was younger. And now, full-blown adult, I understand it even more. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
I do remember, Chris, when it was just me and you. I must have been 5 and you were probably about 2. But I think I was a little jealous of all the attention you were getting from Mom and Dad. So I would try to get you in trouble, and I've always felt really bad about that. You probably don't remember, but yeah, I was.
Yeah, I kind of remember that a little bit. Yeah,
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I only remember a little bit of things and all. You know how much I love you as my big sister and all.
Growing up, I think we were pretty close. Don't you think? We were all pretty close kids.
Yeah, we're pretty close kids. Parker and I were close with each other.
Yeah, and
he used to play with me a lot.
Yeah.
And I love being his brother. And I'm glad he's my younger brother. And
Parker, I remember vividly, my mom and dad were here visiting. We were living in Kula, and I got this paperwork from Monroe Willard, Hawaii International. And they said, "Congratulations, this is your new son, Dong Song." Because I had filled out paperwork years ago, and they were actually advocating for me. They said, they are so patient. They never asked us or anything, and they really wanted to have a son. So there's Parker. Parker came, and I looked at Greg, and he gave the yes, and there he was. I thought it was just paperwork, and we picked him up, and he was just a bundle of joy. He's a cutie pie with his big hair sticking up. He's cute. He was they take care of the kids so well in Korea. He was from Seoul, Korea, too. They advocated for me heavily because they never give boys out in Korea. They always give girls out because it's a big thing. The boy takes on the family's name, and so that was just huge. And I'm very grateful to Hawaii International for doing that because we never even asked them. Well, I wanted to have 12 kids, but having Chris was like already having 6. So I think we just decided that was probably best to do it that way. But we're really glad that Parker came on board and he had a brother that he could look to, and he wasn't by himself, and it wasn't just Tiffany either. So they're like 3 years apart. That's really cool. And they're close. We wanted them to be all close together and love each other. But yeah, I think we decided that he was a handful. And it was to juggle quite a few things, and we tried to have Tiffany, thank God for Tiffany helping me, and we did what we could to help to be with Parker and Tiffany, and because Chris took a lot of, it was very challenging, but you know, it was just a wonderful thing to do.
I don't feel any type of way about being adopted. I don't think I ever really did, to be honest. I know some people they have a hard time coming to grips with it for whatever reasons that they may have. I had no problem with it. As a matter of fact, I felt like it was maybe a second chance or second go around or version of my life, whatever you want to call it. And I was, because I was adopted, I was presented and moved to a family where I could, definitely explore my potential. It's definitely a blessing. It's a blessing to be adopted, I think.
Dr. Paval, haven't the countries that allow adoption changed over the years? Didn't we used to see more Korean youngsters being adopted?
Yes, I think that over the years there has been a change, and there continue to be changes. And the places in the world that are in disarray and the children that are more and more available are certainly becoming the countries that we focus on for adoptions. I think it's very important to understand that some of those countries provide some of those adoptions because there is the availability of a chance to send these children out of the country. And some of these are true situations of orphans. It's very important to understand exactly what is going on and exactly where these children are coming from, because eventually these children will ask questions about where they came from and why they're not with their family of origin, why they're not in their country of origin.
I think they grew up together and had we tried to give them as good a life as possible. We tried, like any parent, to do as well as you could raising the kids. You just put your offerings out there and you do the best you can. I never really thought that much of difference of an adopted versus a non-adopted family, although I know that some people do, and certainly the older generations particularly. And I think there's not so much stigma anymore. There might have been at that time. I know there's books. We had numerous. I know we have numerous books of why am I adopted and so forth. Don't think it affected Tiffany and Parker so much. Christian, he was really. We weren't able to tell at the time, but now he's a little. He has one of his anxieties is about what his real birth family and so forth. So it could have started at an early age, but it wasn't vocalized at that time.
Do you think about your birth parents?
Yeah.
Chris thinks about his birth parents quite a lot, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you struggle a lot with your identity, right?
Yeah, my identity.
And I think Chris has a really hard time with being a minority, being Asian. That's something that always comes up a lot.
Actually, not with the Asians that's the problem. It's more like how pale I was when I was a baby.
Because you were pale as a baby, you think you were white.
Yeah.
Right. Even though I've told you many times that there are a lot of Asians have very pale skin, but that doesn't mean they're white.
I know.
I think this is a hard topic for Chris. I think he really struggles with being Asian. And especially since a lot of the shows and movies that are out there is a white lead, and that's coming ever since we were little. And so I think that it's really coming out now. Chris, you're 30, and so I think that's something he really struggles with because there's not a lot of people on screen that both of us can identify with. Not a lot. It's definitely changing at a slow pace, but it is changing. But I think that's something that's kind of been a struggle. Being different is what makes you cool. Being different is cool and makes you special. And so that's something we're working on with Chris to help him try to we're all working on loving ourselves and our self-esteem.
Well, there are other people that are beautiful and handsome too,
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's okay to be different. It's okay to be Asian. And it's cool to be Asian.
I know. I know.
You know?
Yeah.
I hope I'm a better person. I guess we all hope we're a better person for our life experiences, which would include adopting kids, which would include everything that people have done in their lives. So happy about that. Feeling okay. Hoping we can use these next few years to really kind of hand the ball off to future guardians. Not just of Christian, but I guess it'd be future guardians of the world. There's a lot riding on the new people, and I hope we can get new people. It's refreshing to have new people step up, younger people, and take over. So thank you.
I'm very thankful that we ended up being brother and sister, and Parker too, and I'm very thankful that I was adopted by our parents. Couldn't have asked for a better childhood, or better parents that have always encouraged us to follow our dreams.
I'm also thankful for having brother around, and now Aaron's here, who is just boyfriend and all, and is very nice to us a lot, and building and helping fix houses and doors and all. I'm thankful for mom and dad too and all.
I think as far as having siblings with disabilities, there's something that we need to learn about it. I'm looking at something spiritual, and there's lessons to learn. And what I've learned is to be patient. You have to be really patient, loving, and compassionate. And it does stretch you, and it's a good thing. It's very good. That's just what I think we're here on this earth to learn.
Regardless of the fact that I'm adopted, I'm still very thankful for both my parents. Whether they're my biological parents or not, they're still, to me, my one and only mom and dad. I'm thankful for both of them. I'm thankful for the situation in which, my life has kind of been drawn into because of adoption. I'm thankful for the opportunities that I've had because of it. I love them to death. They're my family. They're my only parents. I'm thankful for both my brother and sister as well. It's thankful for my sister for making videos like these to kind of show what she does and how far she goes for my brother, and for kind of bringing us all together and at the same time.